Nuggets at Nets. Out of conference basketball tonight on this Tuesday. Nuggets laying a short-ish -5.5, and the total 218.5. A lot of moving parts in this game. Really tough spot for Denver. We're throwing it to Luke first. A prop from the prop master under Cam Thomas, 3.5 assists.
Yeah, so I love this line. I just think it's my analytics have this as a full assist off of what the line should be. It should be sitting at 2.5. And here's why. I mean, Cam Thomas averages, just 2.7 assists per game through 3 games. He's not hit this number yet this year. And historically, he never hits this number. I know he hasn't played as many minutes as he will this season, but he was playing 30 plus last year and put up less than 3 assists per game. And as we all know, he has a ridiculous green light to shoot the ball. The man's shooting 22 shot attempts per game. He's kind of all they have, and he just keeps firing. And trust me, he's not looking to pass. He's looking to shoot. It equates to his 30 points per game so far this year, but it's not efficient. It's not a way to win a game for Brooklyn. And what I do like is Denver to be able to kind of lock him down a little bit. The Nuggets have always been, the last few years, one of the better defensive teams. And I really think they just kind of get the ball out of his hands and not even let him get shots or assists in this game. And then we trend back to last year. He's hit under this in 8 of his last 10 games. 80% hit rate. Sign me up for it any day of the week. I love Cam Thomas under 3.5 assists.
Yeah, you said it. This guy just looks for a shot. He is not a distributor in any capacity. So I think the under's a sharp look there. And speaking of the under, Coach on the under, myself on the under. As we mentioned, Denver in a really tough spot here. Coach, talk to me on this.
Yeah, so they went to overtime last night. Then you got to get on a plane, you got to travel, and I don't think that Malone does a real good job of managing this when they're playing back to back. Then you've got the pace factor as well. Brooklyn has really slowed down their games. So I think it's a combination of fatigue, slower pace. That points me to the under 217.5.
Yeah, fully aligned there. An official play for me here, under 218.5. I think you can still get that in the market now. And, as Coach said, really a tough spot for Denver here. They have not performed well in the Malone era in these back-to-backs. This is more than just a back-to-back. 3rd and 4, road back-to-back, traveling across the border from Toronto to Brooklyn. Not only that, early season clustered scheduling here, 4 in 6 nights. You rarely see this type of calendar spot. It really is an awful spot. And, Coach said it in terms of the pace. Brooklyn in the offseason hired a new coach, Jordi Fernandez. I wasn't totally familiar with this guy, but I did some research. He's the current head coach for the Canadian national team. He came up with Spain. He actually did coach Nigeria as well in the international market. I think a really noteworthy point about that, if you guys watch FIBA basketball, there's a lot less points in the game. They do play a slightly smaller game from a time standpoint. I believe they only play 40 as opposed to 48, but the pace is slow. It's more physical, and it really is stylistically different than wide open NBA basketball. And Brooklyn is only allowing their opponents to attempt 76.3 field goal attempts this year per game, which is so far lower than league average for the last 7 years, which is 88.5. And I think you're going to see that tonight. I think there's also a very nice polarization here with Brooklyn. Brooklyn is actually 2-0 to the road over this year. Caught a track meet in the opener at Atlanta. Also went over within the Southeast at Orlando, a shooting outlier game. 1-0 to the home under. Held Milwaukee to 102 points. I think they're going to really turn up consistently at Barclays. And final point on this. Last year, these teams did play at Barclays. 122 to 117 over on a 231.5. Books see that over. Similar rosters moving all the way down to 219. I have this game potentially to be under 210 points tonight. A lot of stuff going on in this game. We're making a game more exciting than it probably will be. That is the beauty of sports betting.
Sure.
We have Luke on the under, Cam Thomas, 3.5 assists, and a collaboration, myself and Coach, under in the game, 218.5.